President Trump set to arrive in New York City this morning ahead of his arraignment at a Manhattan courthouse on Tuesday. You're watching Fox and Friends First here on a Monday morning. I'm Todd Pyra.
And I'm Ashley Strohmeyer in for Carly Shimkus. Brooke Singman has more on what happens next. Good morning, Brooke.
Good morning, Ashley. Todd, that's right. Former President Donald Trump is preparing for his arraignment tomorrow in New York City, saying overnight, quote, I will be leaving Mar-a-Lago on Monday at 12 noon, heading to Trump Tower in New York. On Tuesday morning, I will be going to, believe it or not, the courthouse. America was not supposed to be this way. Let's take a look at what we can expect tomorrow for the former president's arraignment. Now, Trump is set to arrive at the New York County Criminal Courthouse at 11 o'clock a.m. Several streets surrounding the courthouse are expected to be closed around 1 p.m. as the arraignment is set to begin at 2:15. And this could all be finished as soon as 2:30. The Trump campaign put out a statement that the former president will speak tomorrow night back at Mar-a-Lago. Here's Trump's lawyer on what we can expect from his legal team inside the courthouse. Listen.
We will take the indictment. We will dissect it. The team will look at every potential issue that we will be able to challenge, and we will challenge. And of course, I very much anticipate a motion to dismiss coming because there's no law that fits this.
We're also learning the judge at tomorrow's arraignment may be preparing to slap the former president with a gag order. A source saying, quote, the Trump legal team now thinks that the Manhattan judge will take the unprecedented step of silencing the presidential frontrunner with an unconstitutional gag order tomorrow. Breaking the order could trigger a fine of $1,000 and a prison sentence of as much as 30 days. Meanwhile, lawmakers and officials are coming forward to slam the charges against Trump entirely. Former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr says this case has no legal basis.
It's the very essence of the abuse of the prosecutive function, which is pursuing a person rather than pursuing a real crime. And I think the American people see that.
Now, Trump's legal team says they don't expect the former president to make a perp walk, but it's unclear at this point whether he will take a mugshot.
On your left.
That's why I'm hungry.
So regardless, I think he's a great fighter.
Today is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. Donald Trump faces potential gag order ahead of anticipated arrest tomorrow. Will he be stopped from speaking at Mar-a-Lago, addressing the nation? An attorney for Donald Trump, Alina Habba, joins the show soon. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Breaking news environments require an enormous amount of energy, and it also requires that I stay true to my conservative values. That is why I drink Blackout coffee. You can see it right here in this beautiful little red mug. My Blackout coffee comes with a spectacular American flag on the back. I am chugging this as I head into the office proudly as I drive by Starbucks that are being closed because, well, if you go woke, you go broke. The parallel economy, ladies and gentlemen, includes the things that we use every single day, and that is why I use Blackout coffee. I got to bring energy to this show. That's why I'm proud to personally endorse Blackout Coffee. This is a company that is 100% committed to conservative values, from sourcing beans to roasting process to customer support, shipping. They have incredible work ethic and accept no compromise in taste or quality. I have made the switch. You should too. This is also a company from Florida, so they're going to stay free. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny and use the coupon code Benny for 20% off your order. blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. You're going to need some energy, ladies and gentlemen, for what this week is about to bring. Donald Trump on Truth Social just seconds ago truthing, I will be leaving Mar-a-Lago on Monday at 12 noon. So during the show, again, we will be joined by Trump's attorney during the show. 12 noon, heading to Trump Tower in New York. On Tuesday morning, I will be going to, believe it or not, the courthouse. America is not supposed to be this way. It's not just Donald Trump saying this. You're going to really be seeing this wall to wall. Fox News is covering every single step of Donald Trump's departure here. They have a live shot of his plane. We will be bringing you breaking news as it happens on this show. This show has been able to carry breaking news, and we're so proud of the team here, Rolls-Royce, of course, and ALX, and everyone on Team Benny. Ladies and gentlemen, Fox News covering just seconds ago a live shot of Donald Trump's plane. Again, we will cut to breaking news during our broadcast here so that you don't miss anything. Here's what Fox News broadcast seconds ago.
Motorcade, which will take him from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida to Palm Beach International Airport. That's what we're looking at right now, the airport. That's obviously his plane on the tarmac. Trump is expected to head to the airport shortly and then take off minutes later. We will follow the 45th president's steps every step of the way live. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner.
So it's happening. Donald Trump is going to New York. He's going to be arraigned. He's going to get mugshotted. He might be handcuffed. You must prepare for this. Now, we pulled a clip from a year ago where we had a conversation with Kash Patel, and Kash Patel said, yeah, they want to handcuff Donald Trump. And they're planning on it. And this is where we are now in America. But why? Why exactly? We predicted this a year ago, and we weren't the only ones. Of course, people smarter and greater than us predicted this. Rush Limbaugh's final broadcast, actually, this was less than 2 weeks before Rush Limbaugh passed away and went to the pearly golden gates of heaven, traded his golden microphone for the golden halo. Rush Limbaugh said to the MAGA base, to the Republican Party, precisely what they were going to do to Donald Trump. This is an incredible clip that was pulled up out of the archives. In case you're wondering how predictable this move was by the American Marxists and the American Bolsheviks, listen to the prescient and prophetic Rush Limbaugh from 3 years ago telling us what was about to happen to our movement.
I know they desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump.
They can't do it because there have always been people who want to make America great again. That slogan actually lifted from Ronald Reagan's maiden presidential voyage. Ronald Reagan, make America great again, and they couldn't have two Reagans. No. Reagan stopped them the first time, and they couldn't have Donald Trump. He turned into Reagan. So has this codified your support for Trump? Well, you'd be a part of the vast plurality of Americans who this has codified their support for Trump. More people support Trump now. You are seeing swings of 20, 30, 40 points in favor of Trump post-indictment. Now, who else supports Trump? Chris Rock said that you got to be idiots during a performance in Washington, D.C. Nancy Pelosi was in the audience. Said you got to be idiots to do this to Trump. You're going to turn him into Tupac. He's going to sell more records. You know, lock up Trump? You don't understand. You don't understand how people work in this country. But of course they don't understand how people work in this country. Elon Musk supported Trump over the weekend. Mike Tyson supported Trump over the weekend. Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports, a guy who doesn't really wade into politics very often, came out in favor of Trump. The Nelk boys, and so on, and so on, and so on. Some commentators saying, well, Trump just won the black vote. There's a population that knows what it's like to be wrongfully persecuted by a system. We'll see if that plays out. Donald Trump now, a swing of plus 60 points in many polls. I looked at 3 polls from this morning showing that Donald Trump now has a command of 60% approval inside of the GOP Republican caucus primaries, and that is going to be insurmountable. As somebody who knows my Republican primaries and caucuses very, very closely, lived in my entire life, and from Iowa, that is an insurmountable number. So what are they going to do? with Donald Trump. How are they going to stop that? Donald Trump got 75 million votes in 2020, the most votes ever by a sitting president. How do you stop it? Well, you go back, of course, into their Bible, which is naturally a hedonistic, demonic Bible, not the real Bible. We use the real Bible on this show every single day to show you where we are centered. But they go into their scriptures. Their holy scriptures come from a guy named Karl Marx. Karl Marx was the advocate for using the state in order to torment, persecute, and destroy your political enemies. Now, we talked with you about Levante Berra. This is history's greatest monster, Levante Berra. This is a man who locked up 20 million people inside of gulags inside of Soviet Russia. That's worse than Nazi Germany. I mean, you're talking about like by scale numbers and by the persecution of his own people. If you're using that as a metric, maybe only Mao Zedong comes close. But the Soviets really followed to the letter Marxist teaching, which is you must fracture society, you must create civil war, you must disengage and destroy, actually, the institutions that hold people together, like the church, the family, the community. And Mike Cernovich, prescient as ever, hey, Alex, book Cernovich on the show this week. I really want to speak with him. Mike Cernovich, I want to talk about this specific article that he published this week that is just, again, so prescient as ever. Public trust in the media is zero. They can't destroy people like they used to. Let me pause here and say this was the goal. Now, they've been doing this to Trump for the better part of 8 years now, right? 2014, 2015, the Donald Trump compilations of them trying to use every single organ available to them to destroy Trump. They tried to do it in the media. So, deep state ownership of the media, Operation Mockingbird. They have tried so hard to utilize the media as an organ in order to get their prescriptive realities that they wish for electorally. Because the goal is always, of course, to control who's in charge of this country, quote unquote. They threw everything they had, the entire kitchen sink at Donald Trump. The famous Washington Post article, Donald Trump has 0% chance of winning. Maybe we can pull that up for you. Donald Trump has 0% chance of winning on the day of the election in 2016. Donald Trump proved them all wrong. He proved them all frauds. And by doing that, Donald Trump almost guaranteed his indictment. Now, Cernovich goes on to say, the DOJ and the FBI has therefore moved on to using the legal system to frame conservatives for crimes and then rig juries in deep blue districts. This is the new cancel culture. I encourage you to go read Cernovich's Substack here on this issue. It is perfect because what he is laying out here is we are facing now a new landscape of war. They move like locusts. They move like vermin, like rats, like an infestation. They erode and destroy systems that we used to agree upon. Why don't you go ahead and check on American, you can see it there in the chart, what America believes about the media. What's your overall opinion of the news media in the United States? Is it favorable or unfavorable? The red line is unfavorable. The blue line is favorable. Look at that collapse. Now that's just from 2017. If you were to track that back to 1980, you would probably see a double-digit collapse in people's care for the news media. Now that's just because people didn't know how much they were being lied to. The advent of social media has utterly eroded this. But these people don't care. They utilize the news media as an organ to attack their enemies. Once they collapse that system, once they collapse that structure, that institution, well, then their job is done. That's not the bug. It's the feature. They wish to collapse institutions. They move from institution to institution. What do you think about our electoral institutions right now? What do you think about election integrity in America? Good or bad? And if you were to ask that 20 years ago, you'd see a total inversion. How about the CDC or the HHS? What do you think about the science? What has Dr. Fauci done for people's care about the CDC and your trust in the government science? How about the border? How about sovereignty? How about the United States dollar, which has now just suddenly been eclipsed by the yuan as the number one traded currency inside of Russia? Expect that to happen in virtually every country in the world. What will happen when our currency is worthless? these Marxists don't care because they follow the Bible, their satanic Bible, their hedonistic Bible, that says that the only thing that matters is power. And actually the way to get there is the destruction of institutions, the creation of a civil war, and then the using of that crisis in order to grab all power. And that's precisely what they did in the Bolshevik Revolution in Soviet Russia. In fact, people who lived through the Bolshevik Revolution, Soviet-born Rebecca Koffler says, "I'm terrified. The American Bolsheviks are trying to destabilize America and put President Trump behind bars." This is not a bug. This is the feature. This is what's going to happen from now on. If Republicans don't grow some testicular fortitude and begin doing this, this is totally common sense, okay? By the way that we defeated the original Bolsheviks was we created as many nuclear weapons and as much American tech as we possibly could in order to assume mutually assured destruction. So yes, if Stalin got blackout on vodka one night and pushed all the red buttons, yeah, sure, he'd be able to take out some of America, but all of Soviet Russia would be now an uninhabitable wasteland, right? That mutually assured destruction, the absolute DEFCON 9 of the collapse there, prevented Stalin, who was a sociopathic madman, from doing that, and Khrushchev and Gorbachev and all the rest of them. They knew that this would happen to them. They knew that what would happen to them would be far worse. That is the only deterrent now. We have now reached that point. So what will we do next? Only if the left believes that Joe Biden will now be perp-walked, only if they believe that now Bill Clinton will be perp-walked, and Michelle Obama will be perp-walked in handcuffs, only if they believe that will it prevent them from doing this, because they've crossed a Rubicon. So that is the fight that we now have. This is the new cancel culture. Accept our reality. If you want to destroy an enemy, if you want to prevent an enemy from further encroachment, you must know your enemy. First rule, Sun Tzu War. Trump's lawyers believe that the Manhattan judge will impose a gag order on Monday, because of course he will. Of course he will. Donald Trump is taking off on his flight. He will be leaving during our show. We'll bring you the live coverage of that. Now, what if Trump breaks his gag order, as he plans to do? 30 days in jail. Fine. They'll put him in prison. They'll put him in Rikers Island. They'll lock him up. It's the feature, not the bug. This is the goal. The goal is to erode your faith in this next institution. The American justice system has too much faith in Christ. It has not been weaponized thoroughly by this really small band of American Bolsheviks, American Marxists, that want to destroy this place. And so this is the new battlefield. It's really becoming hard to think of something that they haven't destroyed in our country. But they're continuing. Check this out from Brett Baer this morning. Brett Baer. They're now going to drag in Trump's Secret Service agents in order to depose them inside of the next witch hunt against Trump. Fox News has told multiple U.S. Secret Service agents connected to the former President Donald Trump will be subpoenaed and expected to testify on Friday. In Washington, D.C., the grand jury appearances are related to special counsel Jack Smith's probe into the handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. So public trust in media is now zero. They can't destroy someone in the media. You can't destroy someone with Hollywood. Nobody goes to movies anymore. You can't destroy people with the public education system. Everyone is trying to remove their kids from public education system. So what's next? Lawfare. They're going after Donald Trump's Secret Service agents. They're trying to silence Donald Trump. Harmeet Dillon, who is this side of Mike Davis, our favorite lawyer on the show. Mike Davis is our in-house legal advisor and in-house attorney. Harmeet Dillon is an incredible, powerful voice as it pertains to lawfare on the right. She's won some huge victories. Here's what she has to say about them trying to silence Donald Trump's right to speak. Watch.
We start with the premise that under the First Amendment, any prior restraint on speech, including by litigants, including by lawyers, including by a defendant, is disfavored in the law. And so it's supposed to be a big hurdle to get over to get that. But as a practical matter in New York State, in fact, judges do impose these types of gag orders, and they have to look at Is it likely that the speech that the court is seeking to enjoin is going to somehow affect the defendant's right to a fair trial? And that's the important point here, is normally speaking, a gag order is meant to protect the defendant's Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. In this case, they're seeking to gag the defendant. And so what we've already seen in this case is the district attorney's office selectively leaking details of this indictment to the New York Times, for example, and possibly other media. And so, typically a court will issue such an order on both sides, but the court has to look at, is a gag order going to remedy the harm that is identified by the moving party, number one. Number two, is there a less restrictive means than simply gagging speech?
Of course you're going to gag Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump intends on delivering a address to the nation on Tuesday after his arraignment. Now, this is very interesting. This article here from Breitbart talking about how Donald Trump will be addressing all of this Tuesday evening after he returned from New York. So it sort of lays out a timeline of what Donald Trump is planning on doing here. So he's heading to New York this hour. Again, when his plane takes off, we will bring that to you live. Donald Trump is heading to New York this hour, bringing to you live also Donald Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, who will be joining us very soon to talk about this and take your questions. So why would you gag Donald Trump? Harmeet Dillon just said that this is obviously to prevent him from speaking. Of course, Donald Trump is one of the most followed men on planet Earth. He has 100 million followers across all platforms. Donald Trump doesn't even use the majority of his social media right now. They know that Donald Trump is an effective messenger at breaking their media ecosystem. So what are we setting up for you here? New warfare. They no longer have a media that is trusted or cared for by the American people. They know that Donald Trump is the media, and we are the new media. So you have to now fight with equal and opposite force. So they can't just have you checked CNN and MSNBC's ratings? They're it's like Tucker Carlson does 6x what CNN's ratings are right now. The same time slot, Anderson Cooper, pretty famous guy. The same time slot, Tucker Carlson, 6 times the viewers. They've now lost on that battlefield. So they're going to try and take away our media. We are the media now. So they're going to try and destroy Donald Trump's ability to speak. They're going to do this through lawfare. This is the new battleground, ladies and gentlemen. So Donald Trump may be in jeopardy of having a Tuesday announcement. He may have to go to prison if he does a Tuesday announcement from Mar-a-Lago. We'll see. Ron DeSantis saying, and this is the announcement, that at 8:15 p.m., and we'll be live for this, we will carry this live. At 8:15 p.m., Donald Trump will make remarks from Mar-a-Lago. That means that Donald Trump will be going back to Florida Tuesday night after his arraignment in New York. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the abomination of our justice system and the use of our justice system, not just, of course, to put innocent men in prison or to remove them from a ballot that you could possibly vote for, which is the ultimate goal here, right? But also to use the justice system for 2 tiers of justice. CNN had on Alina Habba, who will be joining our show momentarily, Donald Trump's lawyer, this morning, and they got just BTFO'd because Alvin Bragg's office leaked the contents of the arraignment that is illegal. We're back to the, of course, leak everything to the New York Times illegally on Donald Trump to try and frame the best possible narrative for the left. And Alina Habba is saying, it's Alvin Bragg who should be in jail here. Woof. Watch.
Former president and do the legal team, the unsealing of the document, do you support that? Does he support that?
Yes, I mean, I think it will happen no matter what. I would like to see what the basis is for this. Let's remember that the real crime here that we have is that DA Bragg did leak that there were 30 to 34 counts. We already know that. That in itself is a felony. You are not to let that go. So at this point, I mean, and I like everybody in this country to be treated the same no matter who you are.
We don't know if the DA leaked that information. That is speculation.
Well, we don't have that information, so Well, it's not speculation. We don't have the information. So it came from their office.
All right, a little bit of gallows humor here. Don Lemon, we don't know if the DJ leaked that. We're not at the club, Don Lemon. Okay, CNN not sending their best. Again, Tucker Carlson pulls in 6 times the viewers. Donald Trump's attorneys were all across the media this weekend. We wanted to pull you the best clips. Donald Trump's attorneys are forthrightly saying that Donald Trump is, of course, an innocent man, and that he will destroy these charges against him.
Some of the basics are, as you said, necessary as part of this process. Mugshot. Will he have to take a mugshot?
Again, Dana, you're asking me questions that this is not normal operating procedure. Yeah, it's all up in the air. All the Tuesday stuff is still very much up in the air, other than the fact that we will very loudly and proudly say not guilty.
So he's going to say not guilty. They're not sure if Donald Trump's going to take a mugshot. David Axelrod, who is the sort of architect of Barack Obama's presidential run, was saying, don't you dare take a mugshot. Do not give him the mugshot. That'll be the most viewed photo on planet Earth. If Donald Trump gets a mugshot, it'll be the most viewed photo that has ever been seen across the world. Mark my words. Now, what is the legal strategy here? The motion to dismiss, they're going to immediately argue that this needs to be thrown out of court. We don't have a lot of high hopes that that's going to work with this TDS Trump deranged lawyer, but here's the argument.
We will take the indictment. We will dissect it. The team will look at every potential issue that we will be able to challenge, and we will challenge. And of course, I very much anticipate a motion to dismiss coming because there's no law that fits this. And you have a situation where, the federal government, the Department of Justice turned this matter down. The FEC, which governs federal election laws, said there's no violation here. Yet somehow a state prosecutor has taken a misdemeanor and cobbled together to make it a felony by alleging a violation of federal campaign violations.
So who are the legal minds that are saying that this is an abomination? Who are the people who are standing up and defending Trump? Well, you would be shocked to find out that some of them are deeply anti-Trump individuals who are saying this is a critical mistake. You are making this man a rapper. You are making this man Johnny Cash. You are making him the Man in Black now. There are people who are deeply and abidingly against Donald Trump's presidential run and potentially against his actual presidency. One of them was, unfortunately, Donald Trump's Attorney General, Bill Barr. Bill Barr was asked about this. I couldn't find a better condemnation. There were thousands of hours of condemnations from the right, but you got to take a guy who really doesn't like Donald Trump and doesn't want Donald Trump to be president again, and look at where he's coming from here. You want to see the greatest repudiation of these charges? Check out Bill Barr's clip from this weekend. I think this is sound.
Now, obviously, we don't have the indictment, so there's a little bit of speculation involved. But based on the news reports, if they're accurate, this is an abomination. It's the epitome of the abuse of prosecutorial power to bring a case that would not be brought against anyone else. They are going after the man, not a crime. And the legal theory, frankly, is pathetically weak. The case is held together by, chicken wire and paper clips and rubber bands. It's a lousy case. It's a shame. It's a shameful episode in our history where this local prosecutor is trying to affect the political process by bringing this case.
That's why they're gagging Donald Trump. They'll be gagging Donald Trump. They're going after the man, not the crime. Did you hear Bill Barr there reflect our show on Friday? Levante Barra. A famous quote, the most famous quote, "Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. We'll decide who's guilty based on who they are, and then we will make up a crime to put them in prison." That is the new America. That is the Bolshevik America that we live in now. Are you prepared? Republicans, are you ready to fight fire with fire? Are you prepared, Democrats, to see Barack Obama in handcuffs? Are you prepared to see Nancy Pelosi breaking rocks in a prison yard with her dentures? I guess would be the only thing that she could break rocks with, I suppose. Jen Psaki, who is the sort of messaging maestro of the left, she has a very poorly titled MSNBC show now called Inside Jen Psaki. And she is saying, we better not celebrate this. If you want to talk about pause for caution here, you're seeing a lot of people on the left say everything you want about Peppermint Patty. She's not dumb, okay? She may be a liar. She may be a tool of the elites and a tool of the system. She may look just like Chucky, sharpening knives in a shed, ready to murder the truth, but yo, she ain't dumb. Jen Psaki is cautioning the left here, saying you shouldn't celebrate this. We are walking on very, very the ice is cracked. There's no longer walking on thin ice. We are now through the ice here. Yikes.
Where does that leave Democrats, and what should they be doing about the indictment news? Let me start with what I don't think you should be doing. As much as you may want to, now is not the time for a mass order of lock 'em up t-shirts and mugs. That's exactly what Trump and his supporters would do. Now is also not the time for Democratic candidates to celebrate, to brag, to predict the outcome of the legal cases. If you can, I'd actually just put your head down and stay out of it for now. President Biden and the White House will lean into the long-standing policy that they don't comment on ongoing criminal investigations, which was the policy, by the way, long before them, for decades, through Democratic and Republican presidents.
So Jen Psaki doing her best impression of the Human Torch there, wearing a red suit on her Inside Jen Psaki show there on OnlyFans. I mean, MSNBC. So somebody who is certainly greeting fans and did so this weekend was Donald Trump. Donald Trump golfs away his worries at Mar-a-Lago, even as he faces arraignment. Worry-free Donald Trump was out enjoying a round of golf at his estate in Florida, despite facing arraignment in Manhattan. Donald Trump caught dancing. Donald Trump caught hanging out. Donald Trump caught doing dinner the other night. Look at that. Look at the man with his America flag, Make America Great Again hat on. Here's some images, ladies and gentlemen, of the 45th and possibly 47th president. Just chilling out. Is he riding with Melania? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know who he was golfing with. But it certainly looks like a woman. And he's just hanging, dude. He's just does that man look worried to you? No, he does not. No, he does not. Something that worries me with constant strikes me with constant fear. Look at that photo. Look at that. I hadn't seen that one. Donald Trump looking in the mirror. Look at Does that man look worried to you? That is the alpha energy of Donald Trump. Donald Trump not worried. I tend to not be a worrier, but something that does worry me in this profession, especially in moments like this, is not having the ability to utilize technology and not having dependable technology. That is why I use Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They are available on all 3 major networks. They are dependable, nationwide coverage, and they offer a coverage guarantee for breaking news moments like now. Use the coverage that we use for breaking news environments all across America. If you're not happy with your coverage, you can switch to another network for free. But ladies and gentlemen, you will be happy, especially if you use the code Benny. Use the code Benny for free activation today. PatriotMobile.com/Benny or call 878-PATRIOT. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you use your cell phone with the knowledge that you are supporting a free speech company. And once again, they are trying to gag Donald Trump. All right, so more updates from this absolutely wild case. Former Manhattan District Attorney admits that the current indictment against Trump is unprecedented, that it's a weak case, and that he himself stood down. This is a man named Cy Vance. He was the former DA before George Soros injected an insane amount of money in order to get this current DA elected. Cy Vance was on TV saying, this is the reason I didn't do this, guys, is because this is all batshit crazy. Go.
They wrote, this prosecution is now bound to be the test case for any future former president, as well as, of course, proceedings against this former president. A failed prosecution over the hush money payment could put them all in jeopardy, as well as provide Mr. Trump ammunition for his accusations of, quote, witch hunt. This prosecution needs to be airtight. Otherwise, it's not worth continuing. Is there any doubt in your mind that this case is airtight?
Well, I do not know if this case is airtight or not.
Why didn't you charge the hush money case? Why didn't you ever charge it in 2018, 2019, 2020?
Well, Chuck, I don't want to get into the deliberations that might be covered by grand jury material, but as I believe you know, I was asked by the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District to stand down on our investigation, which had commenced involving the Trump Organization.
So this is a Democrat there saying this is a unbelievably weak case. I stood down because this case is literally unreal. This is unprecedented. And the feds didn't charge. This is an FEC case, by the way. Federal Elections Commission case. So this is a case for the feds. The feds didn't charge. Case Biden DOJ didn't charge. Literally no one has charged this case. Bragg was looking to charge Trump with a felony, could land himself in prison, says Gateway Pundit. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg tries to hang a felony charge on former President Donald Trump. Leaks the grand jury indictment against the former president could leave Bragg facing his own felony charge if he was the source of the leak. As noted by Newsweek, pieces of the indictment, but not the full document, have been leaked to the media. Hence, the reports have been flying around. 30 counts, Trump, at least one case as a felony. Bragg is also dealing with calls from House Republicans to provide documents related to the investigation of Trump. Leaking grand jury documents is a felony in New York, which means Bragg could face trouble, former Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz argues in a piece. So people are getting wrecked left and right here. The WAPO fact checker got humiliated. He wrote about Alvin Bragg saying, "Oh, he's not a Soros-funded DA." Oh, yeah? Community Notes was there to absolutely destroy this man. This guy's named Glenn Kessler. Nobody is more professionally wrong than Glenn Kessler. So, incendiary claim that George Soros funds Alvin Bragg. So he got absolutely body checked here by the readers on Twitter. God, I love Twitter these days. It is incredible. So Twitter is actually fact checking the fact checkers. This is what's incredible. So they use these fact checkers essentially to algorithmically deboost the messages that they don't want people to see. So they've sent them all out to defend George Soros there, right? Their Sith Lord that they all worship inside their satanic temple. That's why he's on the cover of today's show as a Sith Lord. Soros donated $1 million to the Color Change PAC, which is the largest individual donation it received in 2022 cycle. It endorsed Bragg days later. Boom. Shaka, laka. Get wrecked. Jim Jordan's planning on wrecking Alvin Bragg. Everything is on the table regarding the Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, saying yesterday morning, forgive me, on Maria Bartiromo's show on Fox, Jim Jordan, flames on both barrels. Go get him.
Well, when are you expecting to speak with Alvin Bragg? If he does not come to testify in front of the Judiciary Committee, will you subpoena him?
Everything's on the table, Maria. We're going to talk with the other chairman and look at the response. We just got his letter back. We're reviewing that. But we think that this is here's, I think, maybe the most important thing. We think this is bigger. This involves all of us. I don't think it's an accident that the same week we learned that the IRS knocked on Matt Taibbi's door while he's testifying in Congress, that same week is when we learned a left-wing district attorney, a Soros-backed district attorney is going to go after the former president of the United States. I mean, that is the scary thing. They paid a foreigner. Think about this. They paid a foreigner to put together a fake dossier to spy on President Trump's campaign. The FTC sends letters to Twitter demanding who are the journalists you're talking to. And then, of course, when Matt Taibbi is testifying, the IRS is knocking on his door. And now an indictment of a former president, the guy who happens to be leading in every single poll. This is about all of us. This is about going after anyone who opposes the left's agenda, the establishment's agenda. And that's maybe the most scary thing of all.
That is the most scary thing of all. Jim Jordan making a prescient point that Hillary Clinton wasn't prosecuted for deleting 33,000 emails. Plus, Hillary Clinton, of course, was allowed to skate along with Bill Clinton, along with George W. Bush. I mean, in case you're wondering if I think that this is some type of party thing, no, of course it's not. There is no more left or right. There is no more Republican or Democrat. Stop thinking in the terms they want you to think. There is an elite oligarchy, and the sooner you realize that George W. Bush is part of the same party as Michelle Obama, that they are together. That's why George W. Bush keeps hugging and grabbing and slobbering all over Michelle Obama every time he gets a chance. Repulsive, grotesque, a pox upon the Bush household. So much would be different in this country if we're not for the Bush family, man. The more you look into it, the more evil that family becomes. The entire rise of China, by the way, is completely and totally tied to the Bush family. It's wild. These people are evil. There is a oligarchy that wishes to rule over you, a government above our government, and that's what's being created here. This is what they're defending. This is outsiders versus insiders. And as to paraphrase George Carlin, it's a big party and you ain't invited. Donald Trump wasn't invited. Donald Trump crashed the party. That's what it's about. Jim Jordan making a very prescient point here. Go.
It is ridiculous. I think the American people see it for what it is. I mean, think about it, Maria. Secretary Clinton can destroy 30,000 emails. Joe Biden gets to keep quiet his classified document issue. But with President Trump, they spy on his campaign, they raid his home 91 days before an election, and now they indict him on a campaign finance violation when he didn't even use campaign funds for the transaction in question. So this is ridiculous. The country understands it. And that's why we, 3 different committees, are trying to get information and answers to key questions.
So where is exactly the indictment of Hillary Clinton? So they're outside, of course, the statute of limitations here for Donald Trump. Statute of limitations for a felony is 5 years. This payment, supposedly, happened 7 years ago. Statute of limitations for a misdemeanor, 2 years. So what the hell is going on? They're just making it up as they go. Doesn't matter. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. Levante Barra. I can show you the exact moment they decided to prosecute Donald Trump and indict Donald Trump. We actually have it. We found it. It's on camera. We can show you the exact moment that Donald Trump, they decided 7 years ago to indict him and prosecute him. Whether he won the presidency or not. This was before he won in 2016. In the landslide, of course, that rocked the world. Donald Trump looking Hillary Clinton in the face and saying, you should be in jail. This is the moment. Hillary Clinton represented the deep state. Hillary Clinton represented the permanent political elite. And Donald Trump represented you. This was effectively you, our movement, telling Hillary that she should go to jail. And this so terrified them. It was at this very moment that they began the process of indicting Donald Trump, which is to indict you. This historic moment in American history. We pulled you the clip. We thought you'd like it.
It is, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Let me know in the comment section. I'm looking at the comments right now. Do you guys believe me? Do you believe me? I've been doing this my entire life, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand. This is the moment. That was the moment. Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail. Remember, Donald Trump is simply a metaphor. Donald Trump is bigger than a man. Donald Trump is bigger than an individual. He is a man. I've met Donald Trump a bunch of times. Like Donald Trump. Like him a lot. Hung out with him, actually. Watched Donald Trump play DJ on his private jet. It's cool. But it's not about Donald Trump. In that moment, this wasn't about Trump versus Hillary. This is about you versus what Hillary represents, which is a broken system that hates you and that would clearly gladly see you in prison. These people want you to know that there's nothing you can do to take your country back. And Donald Trump was the giant middle finger, orange Cheeto middle finger, F you to that system. And so it was that moment that they decided they must indict Donald Trump. That very moment. And they'd do anything that they could. Anything. Including, of course, manufacturing out of whole cloth. With far extremist, wild-eyed leftists. The more that we learn about Alvin Bragg's office. Chief investigator in the Manhattan DA's office, Susan Hoffner, previously donated to Biden, Barack Obama, and other Dems. Oh, isn't that interesting? Look at this individual. This looks like a very sane person. Never once worshipped Satan. The chief investigator in the division of the Manhattan District Attorney Office has a history of donating to Democrat political candidates. In the 2020 election cycle, this lady donated $250 to Biden, donated $1,000 to Act Blue, which is essentially like the super PAC organizing wing of the Democrat Party. How is this working for Democrats? Well, not well. Not well. Now, we've told you that it's the feature, not the bug. The feature is to destroy your faith in the judicial institution. That is the goal for the Marxists. They want civil war. They want the destruction of the things that tie us together. They need a country that's fractured with no shared faith or religion or community. 1/3 of Americans don't think Trump should be indicted. New poll shows 47% say charges against ex-president are politically motivated. Those ain't good numbers. So you have half the country saying this is a political move. A whopping 79% of Republicans believe the indictment against Trump was motivated for political purposes. Half of independents, these are insurmountable numbers, of course. When you bring charges against someone, it should be like, hey, OJ over here, he's got the bloody glove, DNA at the crime scene. We got the footprint of the shoe. We're going to charge him because of all this evidence. It shouldn't be these kind of numbers. Goodness gracious, but look at the breakdown there with the Democrats. What a broken country. And they've done it. They've now done it. Post-indictment poll. More voters in both primaries, general election, say they are likelier to vote for Trump. These people aren't stupid, of course. I think that they are trying to play this angle. I think in some sick capacity, they want Donald Trump to be the nominee. Because they believe that Donald Trump is the more easily beatable candidate. Actually, I mean, I think that's what this backfired on them once. They haven't learned. They are the Wile E. Coyote with the Acme box and the bomb, and they pull the trigger, and the bomb flips around and shoots right back at them. But here you go. Careful what you wish for, baby. Careful what you wish for. More voters are planning to vote now for Donald Trump because of this action. So what about the 2024 presidential race? DeSantis brands Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as a menace to society and accuses him of flouting the rule of law. With Trump's agenda, after new poll, show his ex-president has tripled lead over Florida governor. So again, as we covered earlier off the top of the show, Donald Trump absolutely crushing in presidential polls right now. He is now up sometimes in some polls 30 points on Ron DeSantis. DeSantis has not yet announced his candidacy for the GOP nomination. He did not mention Trump by name, but he called Bragg for bringing flimsy indictment against a former president of the United States. These are legal gymnastics. To act like this is a felony when every other time he's trying to take felonies and downgrade them. This guy is doing politics. He has an agenda. This is not the rule of law. Ron DeSantis has also said, of course, that he will be not assisting in the locking up of Donald Trump, right? He will not be assisting. Florida will not assist in the arraignment of Donald Trump. Donald Trump will be doing this under his own free will, which we thought was really interesting, as you have now a Federalist issue at play. So what power does New York have? Is New York going to create a militia? Come on down to Florida and try and get Donald Trump? Who else would be standing in their way? Apparently Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush defends Trump, blasts Alvin Bragg case as very political, not a matter of justice. So you're now uniting Jeb Bush, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Chris Rock, Elon Musk, Mike Tyson. Yikes. Okay. Careful what you wish for. A lawyer and an attorney and a spokesperson that any person in Donald Trump's position would wish for is his lead attorney in all of this, Alina Habba, who is a friend of the show, Donald Trump's attorney and a great patriot. She joins the program now. Absolutely wild time. We really appreciate you joining the program. We thank you, Alina, for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love coming on, Benny.
I love that shirt. Wow. That's incredible. Times 2. So squared. Got it. 45 squared. So times 2. Is that a firearm necklace?
Oh, I'm a gun lover. Are you surprised? I do own guns. I do shoot. Look, God and guns. I've got God and guns. That's it. Are you surprised? Are you really surprised? I'm full MAGA today.
Of course not. We have firearms in the shot because we also love our Second Amendment. But wow, I was not expecting this. Way to go. We've changed. You've changed since your CNN hit. You've changed since.
I don't care anymore. I literally don't care anymore. Don't care. They're pushing too far. As we've seen. I'm an American first, and this is America.
We know you have limited time. Please inform us on what is happening. Unpack what is happening today for our audience, please.
Yeah. So the president will be traveling today to come to New York, where I am, and I'll be at Trump Tower in a couple hours, greeting him and giving him the support that he needs. This is a really sad time for our country. I think that for my profession, I'm embarrassed. I'm disgusted. I think that there needs to be serious investigations. Obviously, I think your viewers are very well versed, and it's ad nauseum. So I try and bring something to the table on your show, Benny, that I don't normally bring, which is he's so resilient. But I think even this, it's just a disgusting state of affairs. And the fact that I can tell you, I was in tears last night just thinking the fact that I have to do this. This is disgusting and pathetic. He's a president where he should be treated with dignity, and for a books and records BS thing for him to have to fly to New York to surrender and do this arraignment for theatrics to help Biden, who can't walk upstairs. That's the state of our country right now.
We know you have limited time. Some pressing issues that have been ping pong balling around. Handcuffs, mugshot.
No handcuffs.
No handcuffs. No. Okay. Mugshot.
I don't know for sure. I don't really see the purpose in it. I think that they have a good argument that there doesn't need to be one. He's the single most famous human being on the planet. Yes. Why do we need a mugshot? The mugshot is usually just in case they have a flight risk, which he doesn't. The man can't drive a car because he's a former president. So, that just all those things, all those reasons that we have those protections for normal people, we don't need with Donald Trump. So I think that if they do any of those things, I can tell you, Benny, that's purely politically motivated theatrics. There's just no need for that.
It would be the most viewed photograph, I think, on the planet. I don't think there'd be a more viewed photograph. And Democrats are saying, don't you dare do this. David Axelrod's like, don't you dare do this. You're going to turn him into Johnny Cash. You're going to turn him into Tupac.
Yeah, Tupac. Yeah, exactly. Is
Donald Trump prepared to be Tupac?
Donald Trump is Tupac. Donald Trump's Biggie Smalls. He's better than Tupac. I mean, I'm East Coast, right? So I love it. But no, Donald Trump is his own brand. I mean, he is everything. And I just think this is just going to boost him. We've seen it in the polls. I mean, it's not a question. It's a fact. We've seen his polls go up. He's up, 30 points? And I heard somebody say the other day, I can't remember what program it was, if you're Nikki Haley, if you're these other candidates, just stop now, because get behind him, get behind the country, get behind the Constitution, get behind democracy. Stop now. Let's wait. Let's get him in, and let's fix this country, because at this point, the rest is kind of just noise, anybody running against him.
Yeah, it really does seem, we've been covering the polls, it seems unstoppable at this point. And the more that people understand that Donald Trump is more than just a man, Donald Trump is a movement. We started off the top with Rush Limbaugh's final show. He said, this guy's a movement, and it's you. You are Donald Trump. Donald Trump is you. And you said he can't drive, but we showed him driving on a golf cart yesterday.
Yeah, he's not allowed to drive. He's not allowed. Right?
But he's driving a golf cart. It's like, this guy is, the amount of pressure he's under, and he's like, it is remarkable. The mental state of Donald Trump right now, you're closer to him than anyone in the world at this moment.
Other than his family. I love his wife, and I'm very protective of them as well. I think that his mental state is, there's two things I would say. He's in fight mode, ready to go, ready to face it, because that's the way he faces things. He doesn't cower, he doesn't hide, he faces them head on. So he's ready to rip on that front. And then there's this other side that I've seen, which is great disappointment in the state of our country. And that is not a political ploy statement. That's actually genuine. He spoke to me the other night, and without getting into attorney-client privilege, I can tell you he was, he said, you know, have you ever seen anybody who they've attacked more in your life? And I said, no, but you're going to be fine. Because it's the saddest state of affairs in this country. This is third world stuff. We don't do this. We don't, you know, the only thing that they did was give him the dignity of turning himself in and not come and try and handcuff him or do the raid like they did with Mar-a-Lago. So we're slowly creeping into that third world level stuff. And it's a disgusting disgrace.
Quickly, not slowly, quickly. This is wild. In my lifetime.
2 years. Yeah,
Yes.
2 years.
In my
2 years.
lifetime, the unthinkable. So they want to gag order him. Will this happen? What is it?
I'm going to tell you right now, you're trying to look, if they do it, that tells the country everything. And you know, a gag order to silence a candidate, the leading candidate, number one. Number two, to silence the defendant in a case where the plaintiff, the state of New York, the DA Bragg, has leaked, and we know this for a fact because we don't have the indictment. He leaked 30 to 34 indictments. How do we know that? We know that because it came from their camp. And it could only come from their camp. And that, by the way, Benny, is a felony. So if they're gonna gag my client, number one, we will be fighting First Amendment issues left, right, and center. Number two, that is seriously un-American. You do not do that. Everybody has a right to free speech. You know, people keep asking me the same question, CNN and whatever I go on, they think they're going to get me in a corner with, you know, your client said protest. Absolutely. That's another right. That's another right in this country, just like guns, just like God. It's a right. Don't mess with our rights. And if you're going to mess with the rights of the loudest people, then you're going to hear it from the rest of the country. And other people like me are going to speak for him and say, this is not right. This is un-American. So if they do it, I want everybody to pay attention. They try and put a gag order on a defendant who's being selectively prosecuted and persecuted. That's a problem.
That won't stop him from giving an address at Mar-a-Lago?
I'll be with him. If they do that, I can tell you, I think I would just craft it in a way that would be appropriate as an attorney. But there is absolutely no reason that he can't speak. And if you're going to silence the leading candidate, then why are we in this country? What am I here for? What am I fighting? Why am I a lawyer? I can't do anything, right? Yes. So no, that would be. He's going to make his speech. It'll be fine.
The entire institution collapses. The motion to dismiss, do you believe that will happen?
Yes. I mean, on its face, right, we have a federal prosecutors looked at this. They said there was no case. Then you had the FEC who regulates campaign finance violations. They said there was no case. So now, look, he sued Stormy Daniels and won. She owes him hundreds of thousands of dollars right now. Let's remember that. She also admitted this never happened. She never had an affair with Donald Trump. And her lawyer is sitting behind prison. So do I think there's a motion to dismiss? Absolutely. We have a problem here just with venue. We have a problem here with the fact that it's in the state court for a federal crime, and what they did was stack and bootstrap misdemeanors to try and get it to that level. If I had to guess, the indictment, you know, they probably tried to make it much bigger for their leak and take, you know, every check that was done and count them as an individual misdemeanor. That's what I'm suspecting and expecting. Which is just so pathetic. I mean, have a real case. If you're going to bring a case against a former president, pick a good one. I mean, it's a joke. It's a complete joke. So there will be a motion to dismiss. There will be aggressive defense from our criminal team.
Last question, and we thank you so much for your time. You're the busiest person possibly on the planet right now, and we thank you for educating our viewers. You just... I mean, well, we loved this. You went on and just had a BTFO moment on CNN this morning. And we're so happy that you changed for the show because this outfit's way better. You said Alvin Bragg's the one who needs to watch out here because he's the one selectively leaking this information to the media. Two-part question. Unpack that. as to what might happen to Alvin Bragg, and what is your message to Alvin Bragg this morning?
Sure. Oh, what is my message? That's a good question. Jim Jordan is doing the right thing. He needs to expose the corrupt DAs, the corrupt AGs. I was on BBC and they asked me about, is it interference? It's not interference. This is interference in elections. So we need to use our House that we finally have some say in and start investigating these corrupt DAs and these corrupt AGs for what they're worth. What I was inferring was the felony of leaking any information about an indictment, and in itself to leak that there were 30 to 34 counts from their office, which had to come from their office because we do not have it as of yet, is a felony in itself. So there's that. Then there's the ethics issue, which we're also taking up. This is unethical. It is selective prosecution and election interference. So there's numerous things. What do I have to say about Alvin Bragg? See you soon.
Alina Habba, everyone, you couldn't ask for a better defender right now. Godspeed. We are with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you're ending up uniting the country in favor of Donald Trump. Just incredible. She had a Second Amendment firearm necklace. Do these people look scared to you? Donald Trump can't drive, but he can drive around on a golf cart on the golf course, and that's what he was doing on Sunday. Do they look scared to you? Alina Habba, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Just incredible. Really does hire the best people. U-turn for woke Alvin Bragg. He won't prosecute a New York garage worker who shot a suspected thief with his own gun and then charged him for attempted murder. So in case you're wondering if you should get out of blue cities, this is God telling you, yes, get out of blue cities. In case you needed a sign. What they're doing to Donald Trump is totally and wholly predicated on the fact that Donald Trump had his business inside of a blue city. Back when it was sane, back when you could actually do something in New York. New York used to have Republican governors, Republican mayors in my lifetime. The great Rudy Giuliani. And now look at this case. Very simple. I'll sum it up for you. There was a robbery. This guy tried to murder a parking attendant. Musa Daria, 57, was himself shot twice by an alleged thief early Saturday before tussling with him, grabbing his gun, and then firing back. Then he was charged with attempted murder to try and protect himself. Get out of blue cities. Get out. Get out of blue cities. ALX, can we grab that map that I tweeted about where people are moving in the country? We'll wait. But can you grab that? We tweeted it this morning about where people move to. Where are people moving? Because I have a final point about this. People know in their souls that they are in danger when you have monsters like this man right there. Put him back up on screen. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. The sunken eyes. The deeply, slovenly, unhealthy, sad individuals who hate themselves and who hate their own lives. And because of their own self-loathing and because of their lack of understanding of human nature and what it takes to create a peaceful, toss it up on screen, Rolls-Royce, tell me we got it, peaceful place for people to live, which is the only job of government, fill the potholes, secure us. That's the only reason we have a government. That's why the Declaration of Independence talks about when you can dissolve your government. The Declaration of Independence says, hey, you can dissolve your government when they fail at supporting the will of the people. Now look at this map. The colors are inverted, sadly. They probably did this on purpose. Blue means people are moving there. Red means people are leaving there. We should actually go and invert these colors so that it proves the point that people are moving to only red states. And even places in the Midwest that are blue, like Illinois, look at that. Illinois is a solid block of, that orangish color. That means people are leaving. One dot represents 100 people that have either left or arrived. Look at Florida. The entire state is dark blue. Again, this is a data simulation, not dark blue politically. Look at the South. Look at everywhere that is bleeding. Look at California. You could see it on a map in the dark. You could see the outline of California, so many people are leaving. Look at Portland. Look at Seattle. Look all around the country. Denver. Remarkable. Remarkable. Texas, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. You have really bad places. Louisiana's people are leaving because of New Orleans, because Democrats have totally and completely. Arkansas, look what Sarah Sanders has done with Arkansas. This is from 2022. Wow. Look what they've done to Detroit, Chicago, all up the East Coast. People fleeing. What if Republicans got balls? Man, maps like this make me so angry. What if we recognized our power? What if we realized that it actually isn't, it's like the little yippy dog. You ever seen it? Like the little yippy dog? And it's the big dog, the big Labrador, and it's the little yippy dog that comes after the Labrador, and the Labrador is like, it's huge. It's 4 times the size. And the little yippy dog, the Labrador, is kind of backing up because it's like yippy and it's psychotic. Little psychotic, little broken dog. Mentally unstable. That's what these people are. This is who we're fighting. Look at Tennessee and Kentucky on a map. Look at the Carolinas. These are all red states. South Carolina is a deep red state. You're talking like a Trump plus 20 state there. Look at where people are moving. What if we understood our power? What if we understood that we were the populace and that America agrees with us? The vast majority of America agrees with us. What if we used the power in these states to prosecute Hillary and Biden? Gave them a taste of their own medicine. Throw Obama in jail. I hate to say it, but we've come to this point. And then they'd stop. And then you'd realize the power that we actually have in this nation. They have failed. We have proven it. They have failed. They're going to psychotically lash out. This is, again, we must state this so that you are comforted. We always wish to comfort at the end of the show. They have psychotically lashed out because they're losing. They look at maps like this and they realize they've lost. And in our generation, you will see red states. It will be impossible for Democrats to win the presidential nomination. Wait for one more census. It'll be impossible for Democrats. Because what will happen then is from all these blue states, so Illinois, which is a big electoral count giver to Democrats, it's like 30 electoral votes. It'll be cut down to 15 with this kind of migration. Democrats need places like California. California and New York lost delegates. That means they lose the electors for the president of the United States. In our lifetime, it'll be impossible for a Democrat to win based on their current constituency. It'll be impossible because people will move to red states. This is what you're seeing. The moving to red states. The Sun Belt there, the South, will elect the president because that's where all the population will be. And the cities will just be, I am legend, just be zombies. Doesn't matter how many votes you manufacture. These people are scum. They are losing. We have the victory. We shall be victorious. We will win. Stay true. Stay steady. Keep your eye on the light. Keep your eye on the prize. Do not be black-pilled. Do not be doomed. Do not feel that that is not from God. The doom is not from God. That oppression, that weight that you might feel, no, that's from Satan. Don't feel it. Listen to the words of the Lord. Isaiah 30, verse 18. Therefore the Lord waits to be gracious to you. Therefore he exalts himself to show mercy unto you. Do we need mercy right now as a country? Yes, we do. Lord, hear us. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Are you waiting for justice? Oh, I certainly am. I am waiting for justice right now. Who hath saved a wretch like me. Our salvation in this life or the next is promised to us, so you can have that confidence. And that's all you really need, isn't it? Organize your life thusly: God, family, country. And you cannot be shaken. We will not be shaken. We're here for you. It's your boy Benny. This is the Benny Show. Keep fighting. See ya.